So this is question 3E from the CAT exam 2012 day 1, and it's a word problem and simultaneous equations kind of all tied up. So here we have to first come up with some equations, and again, if you want to and you're just looking for an achieved here, you can actually solve this problem using guess and check. But if you're wanting to get full excellence level credit for it, you really need to write the equations and use the algebra. So, let's look at what they've told us. Emma is 3 times as old as Tara. Well, let's start with defining some things. E might be a good variable to call Emma. Seems pretty obvious. And T can be a good variable to call Tara. Now that we've got that defined, we can try to write an equation. So Emma is 3 times as old as Tara. What does that mean? That means that Emma is equal to 3 times Tara, which I can write as just 3t, because that's the same as 3 times Tara. So that's one equation, and that describes that first sentence. So let's look at the second one. In another 7 years, Emma will be twice as old as Tara will be. Sorry, missed an L in there. Okay, so 7 years from now, that means they're 7 years older than they are currently. So that would be Emma plus 7 years from now. She'd be twice as old as Tara would be. So you might think that's twice as old as Tara, but it's not twice as old as Tara today. That's twice as old as Tara, who's also aged 7 years. So both Emma and Tara have increased their age by 7 years, and now Emma's only twice as old as Tara instead of 3 times as old as Tara. Now that we've got these two equations sussed, we can use substitution again with simultaneous equations to try to figure these out. So what happens here is I've got two equations and two unknowns. I have an e and a t in the first one and an e and a t in the second one. If I can try to describe one of those letters as in terms of the other, I can then make a substitution into the equation and have only one variable. So here I've started off with an easy one. E is equal to 3 times t. So if E is equal to 3 times t, I'm going to replace the E in the second equation. So do a direct substitution, E for E, into that equation. So instead of saying E, I'm now going to say 3t plus 7 is equal to 2 bracket t plus 7. So a direct substitution. If I know that Emma is 3 times Tara's age currently, if I see Emma, I can replace it with 3 times Tara. And now I'm going to expand out this equation and solve for t. So expanding my 2 to both terms in the brackets, that becomes 2t plus 14 is equal to 3t plus 7. And now I just need to solve for t. So taking t's to one side of the equation, I get 3t minus 2t is equal to 14 minus 7. It's a plus 7 on the left, so I minus both sides. It becomes a minus 7 on the other side of the equation. And the plus 2t, again, to move that one, I'm going to do minus 2t. So 3 minus 2 is just, in fact, 1t. And I see now that Tara is equal to 7 years old. So you might get really excited and think that you've won the problem, but what did they ask for? They asked for Emma's age, not Tara's age, so make sure you pay attention to what they're actually asking for and that you give it in your answer. So we're not done yet. We don't get excellence for that. We have to answer the other part, which says how old Emma is. So if Emma is 3 times Tara, we go back to our original equation here, Emma is equal to 3 times Tara. Same idea with substitution. We know that t is equal to 7. So let's replace that t with a 7, a direct substitution again. So here we now have 3 times 7 is equal to Emma, and that is equal to 21 years old. So we have answered the actual question now. Emma is 21 years old. So again, define your two variables you're dealing with, Emma and Tara. Find an equation that summarizes one of the sentences given to you. Find another equation and use substitution, where if you get one thing, such as e equals to 3t, we can replace the e with a 3t, and then you're able to solve for t. check to see what they're actually asking you to answer, and make sure you find that for your final answer.